The Footprints Conversations series feature discussions and insights from accomplished workplace and marketplace leaders and their experiences on key leadership principles. As believers, we are supposed to practice these biblical leadership principles in our workplace and marketplace to help us fulfill our calling. This week's Footprints Conversations focuses on prayer and the profession. Many believers consider prayer as sacred and the professional life as secular, and so keeps the two apart. As believers, we forfeit several values which prayer could have made to our professional career when we keep the sacred and the secular apart. I have the distinct honor of having two extraordinary leaders, First Lady Esther and Honorable Daniel, who have extensive experience on this topic. Please let's welcome our distinguished guests to the Footprints Conversations.
Thank you for having us.
We're truly honored to be part of this conversation.
Great. Let's start with something we need clear understanding on. Does God make any distinction between our spiritual and secular lives? First Lady.
I grew up as an orphan in a foreign country with an uncle who was working as a gateman. When I assumed the position as the First Lady, my uncle kept reminding me that I was in that position for such a time as this. If the Lord put me in that position, then the Lord saw it as a sacred calling, and there was nothing secular about the position.
Certainly. For me too. I knew from my early life the sacred part of the relationship with the Lord. Even when I stepped into public life as governor and administrator, I considered those positions as part of the sacred because it was the Lord who put me there to accomplish a purpose.
From your responses, I figured out that when you have a strong conviction that it is the Lord who puts you in that position, you don't consider it as a secular profession but a sacred calling. Is that right?
Exactly. You have to ask yourself, who put me in this professional career or position? If it is the Lord, then it is a sacred calling. And how could you know and fulfill the purpose for which the Lord put you in that position if you don't seek His face constantly?
The irony is that we pray for the Lord's breakthrough when we are looking for that position, but then we forget that there may have been a purpose behind that breakthrough to get the job or position.
Yes, so when you get the breakthrough for the job or position, you must determine that your employer is the Lord and not the organization or your boss. You do your job as to Lord without murmuring or complaining. You are there for a sacred purpose.
This is excellent, First Lady. Can you share from your experience why you resorted to fasting and prayer when you faced the greatest challenge in your professional life?
Yes, I would be glad to. There are several strongholds that operate at the workplace and marketplace. For example, we were dealing with the territorial spirits of Susa, as well as principalities and spiritual forces of darkness working through Haman and my husband King Xerxes.
So, is that why you dealt with issues from spiritual sources and not the physical realm with human beings and systems?
Of course. As I indicated in one of the Footprints Conversations, how could we bind and pull down the strongholds of Susa without prayer? How could we demolish the hostile thoughts and feelings of Haman without prayer? How could we take the decisions of King Xerxes captive to make it obedient to the Lord's will without prayer? That is why I called for the 3 days of fasting and prayers.
Amazing. Amazing experience of the critical role of prayer and fasting in dealing with a professional crisis in that position as the First Lady.
Certainly. After handling everything in the spiritual realm with prayer and fasting, I could then stake my life on the outcome. If I perish, I said. Let me tell someone in your audience facing challenges at workplace or marketplace. As a believer, you can only conquer and overcome those attacks and challenges on your knees. That's the only way.
Excellent. Now let's come to you, Honorable Daniel. We read in Daniel 6 verse 10 that you prayed 3 times a day. And even when the king made it illegal, that could not break your prayer habit?
Right. For me, prayer was more than a habit. It was a necessity. Prayer was my professional work, and my professional work was prayer. I never carried out any professional activity, made any decision, and delivered any solution without prayer. Prayer made me see the Lord's hands in everything I did with my professional work. It also made my professional work easier with the Lord's guidance and enablement.
This is exemplary. Most of us rush to work without even a quiet time. We just bury our heads in the busy schedules without a single prayer. You were consistent, proactive, and committed to prayer despite your busy professional life. What was your secret?
It was not a secret. I just took advantage of the honor and privileged invitation the Lord has accorded to every believer. I made this invitation an important part of my professional life.
Please come down to our level and help us to understand this privileged invitation.
The Lord who gives wisdom, knowledge, and insight. The Lord who measures the waters in the hollow of his hands. The Lord who calls the things that are not as if they are. The Lord who knows the end from the beginning. The Lord who purposes and no man annulate. I can go on and on. This powerful God has given you the opportunity to call on him, and he will answer. And you are taking this opportunity lightly? He has invited you and given you access to his presence. A privilege and honor beyond any invitation by a president, CEO, king, or queen, and you are treating it lightly.
Insightful, honorable. We are always overwhelmed and busy at work as physicians, accountants, carpenters, lawyers, etc. How do we start to take advantage of this privileged invitation amidst our busy schedules?
Start right now. Prioritize it and block time for it. It should not be like a task with a checklist. It should be regarded as a privilege and honor from the one greater than every president in this world. An invitation to be in his presence, spend some time with him, and to seek his help. I promise you, if you take advantage of this invitation, the frustration, stress, and exhaustion you face at your workplace and marketplace will cease. You will not waste your time doing things that are not productive, fruitful, and successful if you are being led by the Lord. You will not make any bad professional and business decisions if you are being led by the Lord.
Audience. We need to take advantage of this invitation to be in the Lord's presence and to saturate our work life with prayer. Prayer is about the presence of the Lord. Let's start now. It could be a silent whisper. Just speak from the heart. Pray while you're walking to your meeting, sitting at your desk, or doing the consultations. Invite God into your work. Seek his guidance and strength. It would make all the difference. First Lady and Honorable, we are looking forward to having you next week to help us with how to deliver solutions at our workplace and marketplace as believers. Please let's show them our appreciation.
If this Footprints conversation has been a blessing to you, pass it on to be a blessing to others. Are you a believer committed to fulfilling your professional calling at your workplace and marketplace? We have several resources to help you do that. Just subscribe at the YouTube channel for you to receive new resources we create every week. If you have creative arts talents too, get in touch and let us yield it to the Lord to use it to impact lives for his glory.